Good evening. Today we are going to be cooking sopapillas with beer. And as you can see, I already have all the ingredients lined up and pre-measured. So I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of shortening, 1 cup of beer, extra flour for rolling, and this is the oil that we're going to be using to fry the sopapillas. I also kept a little bit of extra beer just in case we need to make the dough a little bit more moist. And this is the stock pan that we're going to use to fry the sopapillas. I like to use something tall so that way you don't get burns from splattering the oil. Next, we have the supplies, which is a rolling pin, the slotted spoon, and then I also have paper towels on top of a cardboard box that helps absorb the oil. First step we're going to do is we are going to mix the dry ingredients. So here we go. We're going to throw all the dry ingredients into the bowl. That and that. And then we're going to grab a spoon and start mixing. Just make sure you mix all the ingredients as good little mix. And then next, we're going to add the shortening to this. Going to add it, get it all in there. And then you have to kind of like crumble it into the flour and mix it very well. So you're basically working it into the mixture. And you'll feel that it's like crumbly everywhere. And you just keep doing that until it's a good consistency and you don't feel any big chunks left in the flour. Okay, I've probably been doing this for like a minute or so. It feels pretty well. The consistency feels pretty good. So next, I'm going to add the beer to the mixture. So we're just going to add it in, pour the whole cup, and you're going to like mix it in gently. Just stir. Just stay working it. And as you keep going in circles, and I'd say you're probably gonna work it for a few minutes. After working it, it still feels a little bit dry. So what I'm gonna do is pour the rest of the beer in here, just a little bit at a time. So this is how much beer is left. As you can see, I'm just gonna pour a little drizzle and then work that just till it gives you a nice consistency that isn't too wet and that will be workable when you're ready to roll. I still feel that it feels dry, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more. Okay, so I am working it a little bit more. Okay, so now it feels pretty moist. You're just going to keep pulling from the ends and pushing it to the middle. There you go. If for some reason you feel that you put too much liquid, you can always add a little bit of flour at a time. For example, right now it's a good consistency, but if you needed to, then you would just sprinkle flour like that and work it back into the dough. And you keep doing that until it doesn't feel sticky. And it feels kind of like tortilla dough if you've done tortillas. Okay, once it feels like it's a good consistency, so you could see the elasticity of the dough. That's what it should look like. So then at this point, you place a cover on it, like a light towel, and you let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. I am going to place a little towel over the bowl and just leave it like that. While the dough is rising, you can get your pan and start prepping the oil to get hot. So, like I said, it's that deep of a pan. And I have an electric stove, so I usually keep mine at like 7, so medium high. And then I'm gonna pour the oil in. Okay, so now I am pouring the oil in the pan. And I would say when you're looking at it from the outside of the pan, I probably have like this much oil, like up to there. So that way it's kind of deep. And so you're gonna let the oil get a little bit hot. So we're gonna let it be a couple of minutes in there. And I just wanted to mention, if you don't have, you know, this type of pot or a very deep pot, you could use another pan as long as it's a good thickness, like so, you know, 4 or 5 inches. Just be a little bit more cautious when you're putting the sopapilla in the oil because it will splash. I'm going to show you how to test the oil to make sure it is hot enough to start making the sopapillas. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch a little piece of the dough like that. And I'm going to smash it a little bit with my fingers. And I'm going to throw it in the oil. See how it's poofing up? That means the oil is ready. Okay, next we're going to make the balls in order to start rolling these out. Yes. Okay, so next I'm going to work these into make little balls. So you get the dough like this and you form a little ball with your hand and you pinch. And that creates a little ball. And you keep doing that until you get about 6 balls. So okay, so you can see I made 6 little balls and they feel a little bit sticky on my hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the extra flour that we had put aside. I'm going to get it and I'm just going to sprinkle the counter where I'm going to do the rolling. Like that. And then I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to rub it a little bit in the flour like that. And you could see that side is floured. And then this side is floured. Now I'm going to get ready to start rolling the dough with a rolling pin. Okay, so what you do is you have it like that. You push firmly down and you go up and you go down. Flip it over. No matter what, it doesn't matter the shape. Do it one more time. Down, up. And even if it does that to your rolling pin, take it off, put it back. Do it again. Down, up. You have to put quite a bit of pressure. And you do the same thing. Down, up. And I flip it like 3 times. Down, up. See how it's stretching? And then one more time. And it's about an 1/8 of an inch. I like my sopapillas a little bit on the thinner side. So if you like yours thick, you don't have to roll them as thin. You could do is if you were gonna throw this in whole, I would put a little hole in the middle and put it in the pan whole. But I like to cut them a little bit so that way I'm not struggling in the pan. So I cut this in half, and now I'm gonna throw it in the pan. So now you're gonna see that it goes sizzling, and you're gonna have it in the pan a little bit, and as you can see it fluffs up. Turn it over, leave it there for a couple of seconds again, take it out, and you have a fluffy sopapilla. And you're gonna repeat that process for the remainder of the dough, and then we'll see how many we come up with. I'm gonna show you an example of keeping a whole sopapilla if you want it, let's say. So here's the little round, see it's the size of my hand kinda. So it does, I mean, it's not perfectly round, but that's okay. Because once you throw it in this pan and you push it in here, see how full it makes the pan. So in that case, you have to kind of like move it around so that way it fluffs up. I'm using a pair of tongs because it's easier than a spoon. I should have put that on my list. You flip it over and see how that little middle part stayed a little bit on the lighter side? It's because we didn't put a hole, so it leaves like a little indentation in there. Flipped it over one more time, trying to make it brown. But there is a whole round sopapilla now. Whoops. Ha. Ah. Okay. Okay, so there's the round sopapilla. There's the other ones that I cut in half. And you could basically cut them to whatever size you want. It's faster and quicker to leave them a little bit bigger. I also wanted to remind you, if your oil is not hot enough, your sopapillas won't rise, or they will not come out brown. They won't get that little nice toasty color. So make sure your oil is hot enough. If it's too hot, they're gonna burn a little bit, and at that point, just lower it just a notch. Once you're done with these tasty little fluffy sopapillas, then you can serve them either with beans and cheese and use them as a side like a tortilla. You can make a Navajo taco and put the beans on top with chili and cheese, lettuce, tomato, and onion. You could also serve them as a dessert with honey. Yum! Anyways, have a good evening and enjoy your sopapillas.